I couldn't see the light. Yeah, whenever I look up, I couldn't see the sky. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes when I'm standing, it seems like I walk for miles. Yeah, my heart could be crying, but in the middle of the smile. But then I climbed the hills and saw the mountain. I heard it heavy because I was lost. I found a strong winds and a small voice saying the storm is over. Over now. I can see the sunshine. I feel the heavens. Come on and set me free. Oh, oh. Now, in the midst of my body, all hope was gone. I'm turning the rush curve, I felt it all alone. Yeah, yeah. Every now and then, I feel I'm gonna lose my mind. Hey, I've been racing for years, but still no finish line. Hey, but then I climbed the hills and saw the mountains. Hey, I hold the hell because I was lost. I felt the strong winds and a small voice saying the storm is over now. Hey, the storm is over in your life. Hey, hey, hey. I'm feeling the heavens. Won't you come and set me free? Hey, I have a maker. He formed my
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, indeed. Of course, it is the Sunday night edition as you have been waiting for, and it's now being presented. Talking about, of course, the corridor transformation, your Sunday night edition. Of course, we had a wonderful time this morning. Of course, Dr. Khaled and myself. And of course, the callers. And of course, I'm sure that many of you would have, of course, as I have noticed, would have reviewed. And of course, in the comfort of both your time and the comfort of your accommodation, you were able, of course, to have a taste, if not, of course, a total appreciation of what we did this morning. Dr. Khan and I, of course, we focus on crime, and we focus, of course, on the Pandey matter and the legacy, and, of course, other matters that would contribute to the advancing of Trinidad and Tobago moving forward. Have a wonderful program tonight, and we have, of course, a very backfill one covering a number of issues. But of course, as I said, I will return, of course, to the fact that the people must rise, and the people must decide, the people must say enough is enough. And of course, we are going to demonstrate that by, of course, showing that there is nothing new under the sun. And of course, in the context of my own experience in the Laventille in particular, but of course, to benefit the East-West corridor, we are going to examine that in totality tonight.
Take it high, go. Just clap your hands everywhere you are. To make the glory of God will come upon you. I can feel it.
Yes, indeed. If he is on your side, who could come up against people that have identified the iniquities and the evil, and we know that evil is ephemeral or temporary. What we need to do is persevere, have faith, and ultimately our salvation will be reached. Yes, indeed. If he's on our side, no one, including Rowley and his maroon bunch of opportunistic political parasites, could be against us or could in any way conquer, since they are the evil.
forever.
Yes, indeed. Once again, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, if he's on our side, no one could be against any one of us, whether collectively or individually. And I want to say, of course, I am elated. I am, of course, extremely enthused and, of course, motivated. And I tell you me, when one looks at the tenacity and the commitment and the increasing numbers of persons who are coming to the realization that the toxicity of the Rowley administration is not only unprecedented, but never contemplated in the annals so far of the historical evolution of the politics and the governance administration structure of Trinidad and Tobago. And never before, as ordinary people have taken charge, and of course, as part of the infantry, to tell these people where to get off. Of course, never before, in a similar vein, there has been, of course, an opportunity to correct those wrongs in very fundamental ways, and to do it on a sustainable basis. And never before, therefore, a social media activism and the fact that we are able to meet, greet, and of course be in the spaces, the private spaces of every single human being in Trinidad and Tobago, the region, the hemisphere, and the world, who are prepared to listen and to, of course, see what we see. And that is, of course, a marauding bunch of opportunistic political parasites who, of course, are prepared to arrogate unto themselves and to, of course, provide illegally, ruthlessly, brutally, with a high degree of avarice, what it does not belong to them, and for which they were given the responsibility to administer, and they have betrayed us. Oh, what a perfidious bunch. What a perfidious bunch betrayers, who should be, of course, as Rowley rightly ascribed to such individuals, they should be, of course, be facing the guillotine. That's what Rowley say. People who betray, who commit treason, must be guillotined. Yes, they must be beheaded. In the olden days, of course, he was making reference. I wonder if, of course, modern-day guillotine will mean all of them must, of course, find themselves behind prison walls or within prison walls, behind bars, for the evil that they have perpetrated on the people of Trinidad and Tobago, purporting to be, of course, concerned and, of course, administering government and governance. And when he stands up before, of course, a media corps, telling us that is the only prime minister that would visit them so frequently, giving himself, of course, some kind of kudos. But his administration is riddled with not only the contrary, with not only the antithesis, as they, of course, seek for themselves recusals of over 500, nowhere in the history and in the contemplation and in the annals and in the, of course, and in the data or the assessment of any democracy have there been such a travesty and a total and absolute, not just betrayal, but certainly bold-faced criminal behavior, misbehavior in public office. Never before, in no Commonwealth or world country, not even Putin, I'll go that far, because that is how devastating and how disingenuous, disrespectful, and dishonest this group This crop of individuals are led by a totally and absolutely dishonest man. And you know, I must put it in. A rapist and a pedophile. Yes, a rapist and a pedophile called Keith Christopher Rowley, pretending to be prime minister. No morals, no ethics. Before he get the hell out of office, but he will not, because a criminal will not do that. I've often, of course, make the analogy that granny would be coming out from a bank. A fella wants opportunistically to deprive her of her monies, having witnessed her taken out. And in that particular case, would have been, of course, her pension money to, of course, buy her tablets and her various medications and to eat. And God knows she can't depend on CDAP. Once it is administered by Rowley and them, you can't depend on it. So you have to buy that too, extra. And such a person will put a gun to that senior citizen's head in such traumatic situation. And when Granny says, man, look, this is my medicine money and this is what I have to provide for, maybe she may be paying her rent or have to contribute to the family. And then the robber with the gun facing her listens to her and appear to be sympathetic, appear to be contemplating, ideating whether or not he should go through with this dastard deprivation by force, by the use of a gun. He listens and then he takes the money nonetheless. Well, that's Rowley and them. Rowley and them. Rowley and them. They could tell you all the nice things, moral and ethical. Rowley told us that if you are in public office, when he was seeking office and at the same time undermining his boss Manning, he told us, he says that if you're in public office, you are entitled to be beholden to the population who you would be representing, and that you have a duty and responsibility to account to them. He has the position now, and the opposite is the case. Only non-disclosure clauses. Even for medicine. No other country in the Caribbean have had non-disclosure clauses for the acquisition of vaccines, but Rowley would have had. Rowley administration would have had. And that's just one. Morally depraved. Moral decadence. And that, of course, they have been enveloped in blight. And, of course, total curse. And, of course, absolute and total. Everything they touch turns out to be a disaster. And they don't understand that the evil that they have perpetrated, just as the robber and that analogy and that anecdote that I earlier indicated or referenced with respect, of course, to the granny coming out of the bank and the opportunistic robber put a gun to her face, listens to her, and then, of course, goes away with the money nonetheless, rob her nonetheless, and leave her, of course, in her misery. But that is what Rowley and them have done to us. Leave us in misery as they continue, of course, to eat, drink of the best, and then come and tell us a pile of hogwash whilst they go away and raid the treasury of the country. You cannot make any other conclusion. You cannot contemplate, ideate, or maul any other disposition having regard to the fact that we are 90% in terms of debt to GDP. Debt to GDP, 90% and counting, nearly 100%. You reduce, of course, our reserves from over 10 billion, a healthy, of course, 12 months import scenario to, they say, 6 billion. So therefore, one can conclude it is reduced to 6 months of import. But I know, and I sincerely believe, it is about 4 billion. Why would they then be so desperate to implement property tax and give us some cock and bull story about Christmas and that the gas deal was consummated 30 years, and tell us that they give us a Christmas gift for 2023, but we had to collect it 4 years from now? They feel that we are asses. But people, of course, as I said, my job is to, apart from informing, is to also motivate and inform from the perspective of experience. Experience. And not anything about ad hominem and guessing. I am not those other fellas and them that you hear talking and telling what could be and what should be. I am giving you experience. What has been done, what were contemplated and executed, and it will make Rowley, Hines, Stuart Young, Sinanan, and they look like neophytes, wet behind the ears. They have no experience whatsoever and impose themselves on us as if they know. And of course, giving you a mixture, a commingling of past experiences of the PNM, whites in government, and then attempting, of course, to show that they were the best to be, of course, managing the affairs of the country today, and it turned out to be a total and absolute continuous disaster after disaster. But of course, before I go there, I will bring, of course, and you know that, of course, the Minister of Finance told us that 3% unemployment. In every context of that statement demonstrates that it is full employment in the context of how these things are calculated and looked at. But let's go straight to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. All right. Well, we have lost that one. We have lost that one, no doubt. All right. Caller, call back. But the fact of the matter is that we were told that we have 3% unemployment, and they beat their chests. Let's go straight to the lines once again. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Happy Sunday. Yeah. Good night. Yeah, good night, Lennox. Happy Sunday to you. I hope you had a good day.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. All right. So, we're talking about the Prime Minister, and it's kind of, for me, just whenever, in every country I've ever lived in, even when I lived here in the 70s, when people talk about the Prime Minister, the President, some big leader, you always have to kind of rise up because it's a symbol of respect. And when we talk about this Prime Minister, I don't see him like a Prime Minister, especially especially when you label him, and it kind of makes me feel like, well, we finished now, eh? But the problem we have here is that regardless of what he did, he is an empty shell. We don't know how this man thinks. And I say that because I don't know his ideology. I don't know who he has read or followed. Like, did he read C.L.R. James? Did he read like the books on from capitalism to slavery to capitalism? Did he read W.E.D. Du Bois? Did he read some of the great writers of the Caribbean? What did this man do? What does he have to say to us to show us that he is a child of the soil, that he learned an ideology? All we know is that he was born in his ancestors came from a plantation, and now the man own a big plantation himself, in Tobago. You see, he's a bouncer and a charlatan. He never speaks with us with the intellect that we need to hear. He treats us like we are stupid. And he talks to us like we're stupid in a broken dialect. I'm not saying talk perfect English, but why are we going to school anyway? Why are we learning English in school? Why are we taking grammar? If he's going to speak to us like, like in a language that is just doesn't make sense, nonsensical. He speaks like Heinz, nonsensical. So he is confidently he's not stealing, he's confidently enriching himself, and nobody can do anything because the integrity commissioner is gone, and now he wanted tax free ass till whatever, because you know what he said, he want you to pay your taxes and not take any money from the energy sector to reinvest in the infrastructure of this country. So he's going to just randomly tax everybody. There's no uniformity because of everything, Hey, you want police? Well, yeah, call the police and see if they will show up. You want ambulance? Well, yeah. You want to go to the hospital? Well, be prepared to sit 3 days and 4 days. And yeah, we will put money for carnival from the LNG sector. But other than that, all the tax money will just go to help all you to continue your way of life and standard of living. That is what the man said. He said that all this dragon gas and all of this thing, it's not going to impact anybody because it's going to continue your way of life and your standard of living. So you better get used to no water and less water. You better get used to more potholes in your road, and they will just enrich themselves confidently and in front of all of us. And there's nothing none of us could do. Nothing. We could talk and brain out, but at least I feel better now because I got all that off my chest. And I have to say this man brings nothing because he's an idiot. The prime minister is an idiot. I could say that confidently too. That's my comment, Lennox. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you need to be as practical as possible. And let us face it, I'm sure that the stalwarts and those who are really, really concerned about the direction of the PNM as a party and its survivability, especially those who you consider to be stalwarts and still alive, who have, of course, suspended a major part of their lives and, in fact, depended on the PNM for all of their lives as career politicians like Pat Over and Pat Moore, and, of course, Joe Newell Williams. They are still around, and I'm sure there are a number of other persons that are still around. And seeing the travesty and seeing, of course, at the level of what I consider to be a self-inflicted implosion that is taking place, and the gravitation and the evolution of the PNM into a non-could-be refuted criminal enterprise. I'm sure they must have some disquieting feelings and, of course, disquieting contemplations. Let's go straight to the lines. Let's go straight to the lines. Yes. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lennox. Miss Valsin here. Let me put sense out and nonsense. The man get COVID 3 times and he are dead. So you have to understand that the man come and say get COVID 3 times and he are dead. Right? So the man is a stinking liar. Right? And not one, not two, but 3 times. Every time he go the country and he come back and the deal gets sour out the country, he come back and say he get COVID. He test positive. The man is a liar. Right? The man is a liar. The man, I can't understand. My husband just went on the plane, go to England and come back for 21 days. And my husband dead with COVID. And he go 3 times, 4 times, 50 times. He get COVID 3, 4 times, and he had that yet. Really? Really? This man really think that people is a fool, you know. Well, listen to me. You could only lie one time. You can't lie all the time, you know. So, Mr. Lennox, I'm here. I'm listening to you. And I want to say, Miss Santa Cruz, Miss Rima, good night. Have a safe night and sleep, okay? And Mr. Lennox, you be safe, and with the blood of the Lord, cover you
Thank you very
when you're
much.
going home.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, indeed. And let's get back to the facts. Imber told us that 3% unemployment. Look, outside of the police academy, it will turn out to be thousands of young people looking for work. And mind you, to get to be a police officer, you must have at least five CXC subjects. Well, look at how much. And the same thing happened when, of course, there was recruiting taking place for the prison. And you're going to see later that for even cruise ship, people want to cruise out of here, get out of here. Let's go to our external correspondent very early, of course, Mr. Santa Cruz. A pleasant good night to you. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox. Good night to you and to everybody on the chat. Are you hearing me clearly, Lennox?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Right. Because I said, let me call on. It does when it gets antsy.
Yes,
Lennox,
yes.
but I just want to make a little correction.
Go ahead.
Ms. Saying he got COVID 5 times, madam. Good night. 5 times, and the man was vaccinated. Every time there's an issue in the country, he claims he has COVID and he can't come out. But you see, a liar has no memory. And as you rightly say, how many lies are you going to tell? You must get fed up one day. You must get fed up. Lennox, I just want, this is my anon. Rumors are carried by haters, spread by fools, and accepted by idiots.
Wow.
I'll repeat that, Lennox.
Yes.
Rumors are carried by haters, spread by fools, and accepted by idiots. And earlier clock are going after him. I want to tell Barry Boudram, if you have a problem with Lennox and I waiting to eat a food when UNC get back into office, that is your business. Let it continue. Eat it at you. And you see what I just said here, Lennox, about rumors?
Yes.
It applies to him.
I apply to him. And anybody else who are that foolish. Who are that foolish.
Anybody else. Or all the idiots who want to accept it, and all the fools who want to spread it.
Yes.
Right? You come earlier o'clock on the live tonight to attack both of us.
Yeah.
But that's all right. That's all right. We can handle him.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
We can handle him. Now, Lennox,
Yes.
I saw where they did not renew the contract of the man from the Integrity Commission.
Yes.
They brought in somebody else.
That's right. Yes, yes.
We are waiting patiently now to see if all the investigations that were against Rowley when the previous man was there, if this one is going to drop it. Did the president bring in that man to do Rowley bidding? We have to keep a close eye on that, Lennox.
Yes, of course.
To see
of course.
all who he's going after and all who is not going after. Right? My third point is, I think Wendell Eversley needs some serious help.
Again?
I don't know why they did not make him the leader of the COP, because he's looking for relevance. Apparently, he's disturbed that some people in the UNC have stains on them and are sitting in Parliament. But he have no problem with Camille, Foster coming, even Rowley.
Yes.
Stains on them and sitting in Parliament. You have an Attorney General that lied in court. He perjured himself in court. But you don't have a problem with that. You have a former Attorney General still sitting in government. that was accused of witness tampering. But they're not concerned about that. But go to take a letter to the commissioner of police about certain UNC people, right? I find Erla, when she's praying, she should throw some holy water on him and chase him out the police station. Because that's what he deserves, Lennox. Chase him, run him. I think that he still suffered from battle fatigue from 1990. He's still looking for relevance. Because you can't tell me Lennox has a straight case of situational ethics, you know.
Oh, yes.
And sanctimonious hypocrisy. Because you can't tell me you want one set out and another set sitting there. You can't tell. Next thing I want to touch on before I leave, Lennox.
Go ahead, my dear.
I heard some rambler talking about Pennywise have a big picture of Sai Baba and they like an incense and they try to convert the staff. No, Lennox, that's a big fat stinking lie. At time or two, because I have friends who were working there, right? They move on to better jobs because you know sometimes they pick up that job just to hold on to the fort until they get something better. They never did that to the workers. That's a lie. Lennox, how many Hindu people who have business, you see big pictures of Mother Lakshmi all over the nation establishment. How many Catholics have business and you see a picture of the Sacred Heart there in the establishment? Even in Muslims, I don't know what they call it. It's not a picture, but it's a lettering. Right?
Yes.
Are you going to snicker at all those people? Are you going to ridicule them? You see, Lennox, the day we stop discriminating against race and religion, we will have a better country. Because crime is already rampant. And when you start picking now at people's race and the religion, it is going to get worse. That is even worse. So when we learn to accept other people for what they are, this will be a better place. And to Barry Budram, before I leave, I'm going to say it again. Rumors are carried by haters, spread by fools, and accepted by idiots. Lennox, thanks a lot for listening to my 2 cents. Take care and have a good night.
Same thing to you, my dear. Same thing. Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, what a beautiful presentation, of course. And classic exemplification of the facts. In fact, such individuals to which you have ascribed that attitude clearly settle for focusing on idiocracy. It is not just Rowley doesn't just have a kleptocracy, as you rightly, of course, enunciated earlier, but he also has an idiocracy. But people like that clearly fall right sluggishly in that, let's say, in that ilk, in that vein, in that category. Idiocracy. So, no problem. We understand their difficulty in contemplating and understanding what is happening in the country today and why they are attempting to defend the indefensible. And no other prime minister ever in this country have been regularly and every night been accused of being a rapist and a pedophile. I think, of course, having a leader as a rapist and a pedophile, I think, speaks volumes as to those kinds of individuals who would engage in that kind of nonsensicality and looking for relevance across the board. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox. How are you going, boy?
I'm all right. I'm all right, of course, and pleasing and pleasant as can be in this circumstance.
Well, I'm going to answer Mr. Santa Cruz. The current president of the Republic has put in 2 people in office, replacing the other 2 who were doing their job. right? One was the industrial court judge removed unceremoniously because she had a matter coming up that was she would have to adjudicate over and they didn't want her to adjudicate over it. So they removed she, right? One. And this next integrity chairman person, they removed him. So he made a file with regards to Rowley. But the onus is not on the next president to follow up on those matters, you know. You understand? That other integrity chairman that come in there, they're not what is it, they're not obligated to follow up on the previous one, you know, in investigations, you know. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
expect that to
they will
die
have
right there.
their own mandate, and they will of course set out their own priorities. In other words,
Right.
yes, because they are a new integrity chairman, and he will have, of course, he will set the platform for wherever direction the institution
So
has
I
to go. Yeah.
expect all of I, I expect all our files the last president leaving to be thrown in the dustbin wherever it is they have to throw it. Because Rowley gains spread again, he gained away from that. He always seems to, you know, he's like a slippery little snake. He always seems to have something cooking on the side to game out in shenanigans, you know. And that's why I admire about him. Now that he's the prime minister, he put people in place so that, you know, they could do the bidding for him. And he don't even do nothing at all. No him go there, no lawyer to defend himself at all. Because he that would die a natural death. And when they'll ever see, he's a closet PNM for the last about 8 years. He only did attacking the UNC that give them in power. And he is on his side with the PNM, but yet he wearing a COP shirt. I don't know what that COP stands for. He may be corpse, he may be dead, and then walking around the place. So you can't understand what he wearing that for, and he back in PNM. He just as dead as the corpse. But he's corpse now. He not corpse, so walking there. How a good day now.
Yes, yes, indeed. But they remind me of the myth, I think it's the Greek myth, where of course this recalcitrant leader, the king, who of course was banished to carry a big stone, a rock, up a mountain, so that they could get to the summit, and then of course it will, by gravity, fulfill his commitment by getting that rock up there. But every time it reaches the peak, it falls back down. Well, that's Rowley. I am not of the view that Rowley and his shenanigans and his attempt, of course, to escape what clearly is conspicuous, iniquitous misbehavior in public office and the abuse of office. I am not satisfied, because I can tell you, he was claiming that he get a big fish. You know what I say? Rowley was claiming that he get a big fish. And he was up and down the country stating that, remember Pamasa? And that of course the people would turn state witness. But when Kamala Prasad Bisesa them reveal what he considered to be a big fish, he started to reconcile. He started to twist and turn because his iniquities clearly was waning. And of course, he felt it in jeopardy. All the bossy, he had a big fish. And of course, and he was saying that the wheels of justice turn slow, but they do turn. He was saying that of course, he had a fellow who, of course, is cooperating with the government, to put officers or members of the Kamala Prasad Bisesa former administration in blue lights and silver bracelets in jail. He was saying that. And when the mark busts, you see, the Lord moves in mysterious ways, as wonders to perform. And there is also a saying that you could dig hole if it is iniquitous to try to capture people, or try to, of course, set up people, or try to entrap people, or try to malign people. But the Lord frowns on those kinds of behavior, particularly when it is in high office. It is spiritual wickedness and actual physical wickedness, and of course administrative wickedness in high places. And the Lord frowns on that. I want to preach tonight. I want to preach tonight, man. It was of course settled and of course inspired by, of course, the statement that he admired Rowley for being successful at what? He is successful to the degree that he is staying as prime minister only to the extent that there is a legal requirement for him to stay there. That's the first thing. So let us not waste time. But in terms of his iniquities and his attempt to stay there by virtue of a auto coup, manipulating the system and perpetrating the most heinous evils that any human being in Trinidad and Tobago could contemplate or execute, he has not been successful. The man said, "You're a big fish." When he heard that the opposition got wind of his email gate type agenda and pursuance, he then come out and say that he noting that he can't tell the people because if he tell them, they go claim that, of course, it is unfair and, of course, use that as an opportunity to, of course, escape justice. He said that. He said they would say is political interference. He said they would say is undue and therefore they wouldn't get a fair trial. That is normal in, of course, a system like ours. What he didn't tell us was that he and his cabinet paid the Vincent Nelson $10 million in order to get a statement, a confession. And of course, at the end of it all, there was, of course, an indemnity agreement, including, of course, Al-Rari as the Attorney General under him that, of course, created that and engaged in that kind of iniquitous entrapment environment or scenario. And of course, at the end of it all, it was so devastatingly poorly executed. It was such a huge reversal that Rowley started to say he ain't know nothing about that. The cabinet and he ain't know nothing about that. But pursued to, of course, move the impediment. The person who was directly linked to it are talking about the then Attorney General Al-Rari. Yes, don't tell me that he lucky so far, he didn't make a jail. That we have to say. Successful what? His defenses and them are poor and they are brittle and they are receding with a rapidity that is unprecedented. That is my view, of course. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night again, Lennox.
Yes.
As you raised that issue there just now with the indemnity and whatever, right?
Yes.
I sent you a reading from Winard. Today, Winard is raising issues about forests, and that's what he did with Vince Nelson.
Well,
So
just a matter of time.
finally now, beg pardon?
I said just a matter of time. No, I was just
no,
reinforcing what you're saying. Yes.
And the thing is, right, now all of them now talking out. Right after the horses bolted, they're talking now. But I should say, it's better late than ever, right? Because
Yes.
they're talking out now about what is happening with this thing with Farris and calling on the police to do an investigation. PNM, but they should realize, and Winard is another PNM party group. right? She was the one for Lade Matoto, the head of Winard, was the one that Rowley hired to do the investigation on the Darrell Smith sexual harassment.
That's right.
And when they handed in the report, right, Rowley twisted it around. And she came out blasting him. So I guess they realize now that they are no longer in favor with the PNM. So they now decide to talk about this, what this happened with Vince Nelson Faris, right? So you see now, I hope a lot more people's eyes will be opening as to the corruption in this country. Thanks a lot, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. Oh, what a tangle web we weave when we first set out to deceive. And no evil will go unpunished, particularly when you arrest, you capture high office. This is a case of spiritual and physical and material evil in high office in this country, and it cannot go. There is a spiritual rule that must be applicable. There is a principle, even though it may be amorphous, it may be invisible, but it operates in human circumstance where you are undeserving, but of course you impose yourself, and then you get more than your fair share, or you would have done so with an illegality that is frowned upon by the society, by the law, and you must pay the price. Just as the example with, of course, the fella who saw the senior citizen come out of the bank, and of course he held her up. But don't believe that will go unpunished, because 9.9% or 99.9% of such circumstance, the fella ends up, not necessarily for that matter, but he ends up in the hands of the police because he's so confident, and in the case of Rowley, so overconfident, because he has, of course, he believes, a tenuous majority of 22, but 2025 must come. 2025 must come. Must come. He could jump high, he could jump low. But let me, of course, further disabuse the notion that Rowley is some kind of lucky fella, or he can do these iniquitous things and get away. All the signs are there that it is impossible for him to get away. The man said during the course of his engagement to take over the party from his predecessor Manning, he engaged Sandals. And we didn't know, we weren't supposed to know, just as we weren't supposed to know about the deal between Al-Rari, the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me repeat, and I say so without fear of contradiction. Al-Rari and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, of which Rowley is the head, and therefore must have known that arrangement with respect, of course, to Vincent Nelson and the $10 million that he was given in order, of course, to bear false witness against, of course, the two former UNC elements, that Rowley was up and down the country calling big fish, and of course referencing Pamasa, and of course state witness, etc. And now that it has failed once again, he then, of course, say that he didn't know. That's what he does. And we saw, of course, his attempt, of course, to mash up Gary Griffith. Sandals is just one. That incident with, of course, Vincent Nelson is another. He tried to mash up Gary Griffith once again and said in the beginning that he knew nothing. He is Schultz. He knows nothing. He seen nothing. And when the UNC, I want to commend the UNC. I cannot be insensitive, and you should not be insensitive, neither be ungrateful for what they have been doing to, of course, generate the sanity, and of course making certain that whenever the next election comes, just as in Tobago, that we do what is required in order, of course, to rid ourselves of this sinful, nasty, evil, wicked, diabolical, idiotic, and of course a kleptocratic group of individuals. You have a duty. You know what the facts are. So when the UNC decided, of course, to impeach to impeach the president, is then he came out and said, it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me. How he successful? How he successful at extricating himself? No. The only reason why he appeared to be successful is because 2025 ain't come yet. That's the only reason. That's the only reason people understand that successful my foot. The man is a total criminal and is the only prime minister across the various parties that would have, of course, in his case, disgraced the office of prime minister. In the other cases, of course, from Chambers and subsequent prime ministers, whether it be Pandey or Kamla or Manning, that have graced the office of prime minister. He has disgraced the office of prime minister. The man is so cursed. Nothing he tries comes out successful. How could you say that anybody could say, in fact, that he is successful at, of course, obfuscating? Because let me tell you something. Even in the situation where he has changed, the chairman of the Integrity Commission right now, he has not escaped. Well, let me tell you how he has not escaped. Balgobin, what I consider to be the judicial activist, but judicial from the point of view that he goes to court, not that he is on the bench or he is, of course, at the bar, but as an activist. And clearly, with the support and, of course, consent and acquiescence of the UNC, it was he who was prepared, of course, in his activism to take Rowley and they to the Privy Council that forced Rowley and them to call the local government election because the Privy Council said it was illegal. How he successful at escaping what? It's only because there's another year to come, and because of that period, he too understands that and therefore buying time. How he successful? So the question of the Gary Griffith matter and trying, of course, to interfere with that shortlist, when the UNC take a ton in the tail and tell him, well, listen, we are going to, because we have the majority, we have the numbers in the lower house, and we are going to initiate impeachment against the president, he start to squeak. The man like he was sitting on a powder keg ready to explode. Successful my foot. And every time he evades, but all of the evidence is still there. He deepens, of course, the time that he will have to spend in jail as a former prime minister, because he becomes more and more desperate and therefore more blatant and more conspicuous and more outlandish, and he continues, of course, to give evidence that he cannot refute when the time comes. Because I, for example, if he were to take me to court for call him a rapist and a pedophile, I have the clips where in an interview with Julian Rogers, he said that the woman, Miss Allen, save he, but I also have the clip where the PNM advanced before the 2015 general elections, where she said that she was 17 years of age when she made it her first child and his first child, Rowley's first child, for Rowley. And if she was 17 years of age, 9 months before that, she would at maximum be 16, and at minimum about 15. How we getting away in a court of law? How we getting away? He put that in the public domain. He put that. So he gets away because he is prime minister and has the office for the time being. So that makes him, of course, the way how it is structured, a fella could be a dictator, as Rowley has demonstrated, and abusing everybody and everything in order, of course, to stay relevant and to of course, not just be accused, but to be subjected to the ultimate criminal investigation and criminal charges. And don't let me have to go further, you know, because even the Galleon Passage and those two boats that they have now, of course, the APT, and of course the other one, the Boko Reef, questionable. He went himself. He went himself and negotiate. That man will lost in jail. That's a candidate for
Good
lost in
night,
jail.
Mr. Lennox.
Good night.
Don't forget that man is a liar. He did not know Delcy Rodriguez was coming in the country.
Well done, well done. Yes, he didn't know. And he gets
And
away.
he did not know, but he fake call and he called his partner and asked his partner what's going on.
Yes, that's right, man.
That's half of the money went in the account.
But I'm glad the caller raised
Right?
the issue, so we're able to ventilate it now. Go ahead, yes.
He did not know Delcy was coming 1 o'clock in the morning in the different center.
Yeah,
He knew nothing about that.
yeah.
That man is a liar. He did not know nothing about the fake call, but half of the money went in the account and say the brother account. These are the things we have to investigate.
Get away.
That bitch had to go to jail.
Because
No?
5 years. Because of her 5-year cycle. That's why.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah, that's right. That's why it appears that he get away. Get away. 5 years is not an eternity. As I tell people in Laventille, 5 years is not an eternity. Switch your political allegiance and everything will be added. And of course, the other 5 years, if you are not satisfied, then of course, you go back, of course, to committing suicide, but to consistently commit suicide by people who are giving you a set of what I consider to be flowery talk, hyperboles, and of course, telling you to stay with your tribe, and of course, to look at the texture of your hair and the color of your skin. Rowley is so hate himself. He does wear a clean bald head. Is the first man I know have a natural bald head. I want to make it look artificial. You know what I say? I say Rowley is a fella. He has a natural bald head and would not wear it proudly like how, of course, Wade Mark or Tim Gopi Singh, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh wearing it. He has a natural bald head and want to play that he doesn't have one, make it look artificial. I don't know, because already as he is, there's a face only a mother would love. Far less for even have a head of hair from the occipital region at the back of his head to, of course, his both sides of his temple, and he had that head of hair like of course, Wade Mark or Dr. Tim Gopi Singh. You could understand the beast in human form and the gorilla type facial expression that will, of course, conjure up. You understand? The man is totally a rapscallion. He's a scum of the earth. And as I said, only Prime Minister who every day people calling him a rapist, a pedophile, a scum, and so on and so forth, and he absorbing that and don't respond at all, and still say that he want to protect his name. Let's get back, of course, to the Integrity Commission. Well, this Integrity Commission, my friend, even though he changed or caused a change in the chairman, he didn't get away. Right now, Frank C. Prasad, the judge, has given approval for judicial review. Let me repeat that. For judicial review of the decision of the previous or the Integrity Commission, because it's whether previous or not, they have to find the information and provide it to the court as to what were the circumstances that caused them to, of course, dismiss and say that Rowley ought not, of course, to go to the next stage, which is to say, to send the file to the DPP, when, of course, they said that, of course, that townhouse that he bought, the INS Gate matter, where, of course, he got a gift, and the Integrity Commission said that it was, in fact, a gift, but not in his capacity as Prime Minister, even though he was Prime Minister at the time when he got the gift. I mean, that is asinine. And so the court says they have a case. So that's another matter. He ain't get away. Who tell you he get away? So there are ways and means to get around. Ways and means to get around. Just as how we have the ability to get around, to insist that, of course, not just criminal prosecution at the appropriate time be levied against the entire cabinet of the country. We also have the capacity, of course, to alert international, regional, and, of course, hemispheric institutions as to the iniquities and the evil and the poor policy decisions and misappropriation of resources that clearly is going, of course, to the pockets and line the pockets of their friends and family, and, of course, to nepotism, cronyism, and rank and unadulterated corruption. Rank and unadulterated corruption. Understand that? So I thought it was important, of course, to pause. So as to tell the guy, well, listen, just as Rowley said, and he's correct, justice may be slow, but it does come around. Inclusive for Rowley and his cabinet, entire cabinet. The entire cabinet had to make the monumental, devastating, barbaric, and evil decision of closing down Petrotrin and mothballing today, even today, our oil refinery. And you glibly just saying that you gone out of what? Of the oil refining business and all over the world.
Good night, Mr. Nelson Valson here.
Go ahead.
We should have analyzed that man from the beginning when he was lying. He said, I could categorically boast and tell the opposition leader, Kamala, I have 2 daughters. Where the 2 sons come from now? We got Harley on them. How they come all of a sudden? The man is a liar. And the man just forget. The man sick. The man mentally ill. The man tell people when he was on the campaign, he said he has 2 daughters.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. What you talking about? He said that.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, got Allen come. Right? Where the 2 sons come from now?
And then we say he has a large family. Afterwards, when he got caught, he then say, "But
tell me."
But his
and
objective.
And you know what you see on the podium when he was campaigning? So what happened if I had other children? Sharon accept it.
Yeah, we heard him.
But he said he had 2 daughters. Mr. Lennox, I want you to raise this Delcy Rodriguez deal and 8 trillion more. Because that is we money, we country money. That bitch spent take and put in your account.
Yes.
This what I want you to put. You hear?
That's a need. And he looked for that. He looked for those kinds of what I consider to be vitriolic and toxic statements against him because he has demonstrated it repeatedly, not just once, not just twice. You say, well, all right, you give him a break. Look at the cabinet and the amount of recusals. That alone. Look at Balize House. That alone. And they're so blasted greedy, aggressive and brutal, disrespectful and criminalistic. Yes, Hines. Yes, Hines. Criminalistic. They then, of course, also take piece of Tranquility Government Secondary School to construct Balize House. That is what they have done. Bunch of thieves. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Yes, Hines.
Hello.
Pleasant good night.
Good night,
Welcome.
Lennox.
Good night to you.
Yes, Lennox. How you doing?
I'm all right, man.
I'm listening to you and taking in the program.
Yes, man.
Yeah, man. I like the part where they get him in the court, man. They're jamming him.
Of course. I tell him about
Lennox, if you know, I want this man out this year here. This year here, I want this man out. I don't care about no election. Afraid that EBC, we can't trust them. So Lennox, I on the issue with the boat again.
Go ahead.
Why it is we always have to be helping these people so them can get a boat too? This place hardly have vessel. And they're going and walk out this vessel in this harsh water in the Atlantic there to go Guyana. You checking out that wrongs, Lennox?
Of
From
course.
Port of Spain to Guyana?
Of course.
Lennox, you should put up a map, let the people see what's going on. It have people don't understand thing, you know. Them don't
Alright, good.
understand where we live in good yet, you know.
I will deal with that. I will deal with that. Yes, I will deal with that.
Yeah, Lennox is a long distance. And then there was, I think I hear you saying that from Port of Spain to Tobago, it would have been hard for the vessel going up there.
That's right.
You say something like that?
Yes. It
I'm sure I hear you say that.
Yes, I did.
Right.
I did. Yes.
So therefore, how we going to make that runs from Port of Spain to go, it will pass Palo Seco, right?
Yes.
Go Guayari and then to Guyana in that Atlantic Ocean with the water harsh. I know about vessel, you know.
Very good.
I know about sailing and thing. A girl used to sail and thing plenty. I know about vessel.
Okay.
This thing go break down in our time, and boy.
That's right. That is what I was coming
And
to when I said that.
cargo.
Yes.
They up to something, but I can't put my finger on it. These days I ain't listening too much of the news, so you ain't hearing me talking too much thing about over there now.
Yeah.
I get so busy for the Christmas.
No problem.
But
man,
what
no
I want
problem.
to say is, although you keep promising me, you know, I want you to find out, let people ask questions about the refining of the oil, the gas.
Monday they get it. I'll read it out for you Monday night or Tuesday night.
Yes,
They get
because look at something. Look at the Lennox. You know they're attacking vessels in the Red Sea. That is the Houthi rebels and them from Yemen.
Back by the Iranians.
Right.
Yeah.
And when ship and thing passing, you just have to have a flag. So they know which vessels to attack. Right? So I understand that they attack vessels that carry crude and refined fuel and thing. But I will hint you something. I will hint you something. Vessel leaving Iran, which is right there, so where they're looking to jam vessel going and coming with food supplies and fuel and thing. It's a lucky thing we is friends with Iran. He and his partner and them, all of them is friends with Iran, because I tell you by now we would be out of fuel, you know. Catch where I coming from, Lennox.
Yes. That information. Yeah, that information will bring out some of it. Yeah. I agree with you.
Nice. So have a good night, Lennox.
Same to you, my dear. Same to you. Yes, people. Lucky what? The man ain't even lucky. Even lucky. Oh, what a tangle web we weave when we first set out to deceive. And as my mother would say, one day, Kongote. What sweet in goat mouth, sour in the bam bam. Just a matter of time. The only logical reason why it appears because he's prime minister and that he has 5 years. After that 5 years, his ass is grass. Total and absolute manure. Manure. That's what it's going to be. And as I said, and I'm taunting, of course, those who want to defend the indefensible by simply saying, you're defending, of course, a man who will not respond to ordinary people call him a rapist and a pedophile every night, every day. And I had to end up sending a pre-action protocol letter saying that I'm telling you that every night and you're trying to make me a liar by your friends and family. Just a matter of time. That too will come to pass. It's a long, hot 12 months, a long, hot 2024. And of course, as I said, look at their evidence. The prison, recruitment, thousands of persons, young people, the police, Thousands of persons. And just in case your eyes tired, well, let me, of course, give you those that were at Napa. Let me give you those that were at Napa looking for Guyanese job. Yes, look at there. Look at there. Yes, look at there. Let me just make sure that you see it. This is no joking matter. This is retribution. This is reality. Look at the Rushford Guyanese job. Imagine that. Just about a decade ago, people were running. Guyana wasn't the place to go in spite of its potential and real resources. Look at it. Yes, indeed. Rush for Guyanese jobs. And Imber telling us that the unemployment rate is of what? 3%. 3%. Look them there. Rush for Guyana jobs. Yes, indeed. This is no joking matter. And we have the proof. And we can prove it. And as we said earlier, hogwash, putrid talk, square peg and round hole reasoning. A bunch of opportunistic, political, dangerous parasites who would stop at nothing to stay where they are and grin and laugh at us. Grin and laugh at us. And we must resist. And we must tell them where the hell to get off. We must resist and tell them where the hell to get off. Yes, PNM jobless. You see, I'm saying so from the perspective that Kamla Persad-Bissessar in the 2020 elections and indeed in the local as well were talking about job creation. Rowley and they don't talk that. They talk about, of course, emasculation. They talk about, of course, investment in a vacuum, in an area that will not generate jobs, and no creative way of treating with jobs. When coming out of the COVID and the 2020 election was upon us, there was, of course, the position for the creation of jobs that the institution that would have had some excess money, besides, of course, that which they would put aside for reinvestment and for contingency. And when Kamla Persad-Bissessar brought the proposal for the purpose, the simple purpose or the specific purpose of course, keeping small one-man, two-person enterprises employed, particularly in the entertainment and the subsector, including, of course, bars and casinos, etc. Rowley and them scoffed. When the proposal was provided, they make a mockery and all talk, but have not put anything in place for an alternative. But of course, will tell us just so that, of course, the CSO say that unemployment is down by 3%. As if we are asses. It's obvious a substantial amount of persons are not looking for work, and therefore it does not mean that they are not unemployed. It means that they are unemployed, but they're not looking for work. And those massive groups of individuals that ought to be in the workforce of over 600,000, it is estimated, was supposed to be working. And since they are not working, it means, therefore, the fallout of family disintegration, home invasion, murders, and abject need and poverty that has pervasively invaded our spaces and our social and economic and cultural conscience is now the order of the day. And that is why we are in such a shambolic state of affair, chaotic state of affair, with a set of course, fellas who have no creativity because they are idiots and they are kleptocratic and that they have no compunction in terms of sympathy for those who have been ravaged as a consequence of their poor policies, programs, and rollouts. And we must see them for what they are. We must tell them who they are. And we must, of course, make certain that they never again see office but pay their just due to society in terms of the criminal justice system and that of the civil justice system, where we will hound them down to get back our monies, if only on principle. If only on principle. If only on principle, people. But it is not right to just talk and not demonstrate action. And as I've said earlier, no one in Trinidad and Tobago, particularly Rowley and they, could claim any kind of initiative that they would have taken on their own in circumstances where it was not only required, but the community relied for respite. And none of them have a track record of that, whether they were part and parcel of rehabilitating our democracy after the 1990 attempted coup, or before that and after that, finding creative ways to ameliorate and to reduce, of course, the crime and criminality, the gang warfare, and our young people engaging and gravitating to a life of crime and therefore subjecting themselves to the subterranean culture of course, gang warfare and making the country not just ungovernable. It's not the opposition, it's those elements who are engaged in making the country ungovernable because you have a governing party that is incapable of managing the affairs because they were never committed to the amelioration and, of course, the elimination of these issues that were always there, created by them, fomented by them, while they engage in glib and, of course, nebulous transferring or deflection and not accepting the fact that not only must they get the hell out of office, but accept the blame because they are unpatriotic. Unpatriotic. So I want to, of course, make certain that you understand the extent to which the problem exists or the problems exist. One, socio-economic, psycho-cultural, and all of the other elements that is disquieting to the population or to the society. Not only that, but that all of us have a collective responsibility and an independent and individual responsibility to do what is required in order, of course, to salvage the situation in a post-PNM, a post, of course, a Rowley scenario where, of course, he and his minions must, of course, be facing criminal and civil action for what they have done over the last, that would have been, if it lasts as far as 2025 is concerned, would have been, of course, 10 years. Yes, people. I want to tell you now. You see, talk without works is vain. Talk without works is vain. That's what we and them. I am not about talk without works. An ounce of action is better than a pound of talk. But let me tell you something now. In addition to all of the evidential proof recorded by the newspapers over the years of what Lennox Smith and, of course, those institutions that I would have been attached to, whether it be the MLIO, whether it be Laventille for Laventillians, whether it be ad hoc committee for the eradication of crime in Laventille, whether it be, of course, other institutions that I would have been attached to in order, of course, to have them address the socio-economic and psycho-cultural realities of the area in order, of course, to simmer down and to, of course, control and limit. That if it did not exist, the situation would have been worse. So today, just imagine the situation being worse today in terms of drive-by shootings, in terms, of course, of home invasions, and in terms of killing. We did it because we accept the fact that Laventille, of course, is a place where you have higher than national average criminals, higher than national average, of course, a person making jail, higher than national average young people making children of the type that, of course, will, of course, continue that cycle. Higher than national average of people, students doing poorly in school. And let me tell you this, of that 2,000 that the government cannot find coming out of COVID, that they cannot find that have, of course, disappeared in the education system. Let me tell you something. A large portion of that would have been from along the East-West corridor, but in particular, of course, in Laventille and environs. No, I don't have the statistical evidence, but it's clear as days where, because these are the people that have difficulty in making use of their educational opportunities. And when, of course, a situation like what transpired during, of course, COVID, where they had to stay home, they would, of course, have been engaged in all kinds of things that, of course, Satan will find those hands to do when they are idle. Yeah. Just as how, of course, I argued the half-day school or the shift system and what it did to, of course, the parents of those who are there now, and it may skew their own sense of parenting and the ability, of course, to control those young people who are 14 and 15 and 16 now and are engaging, of course, in all kinds of criminal behavior, gang warfare, etc. But let me tell all of this. I told you that the community must see the problem and decide to do something about it. Well, I'm giving you another episode, another anecdote tonight as a manifestation of what you can do. Not boasting or anything like that, but what you can do. What you can do. You must be creative. You must understand the problem. And you must, of course, know that there is a solution. And there are solutions because you are there in the community. But you must have, of course, the commitment, the dedication, and, of course, those persons who are willing to go the distance. Well, you see that man, that white fella bending down there? Well, he was the ambassador, or should I say the high commissioner to Britain here in Trinidad And I got him to come in to East Port of Spain and to have a look-see as to how the people operate. And I took him to the schools. I took him, of course, on George Street to see how the people try to earn a living. I took him along Charlotte Street, and I took him, of course, to the secondary school Southeast. I did that. I, Lennox Smith. Only they know that. That is what I'm talking about. When I talk about authoritative intervention, that is what I'm talking about. Ask Rowley, ask Hines, ask Young if they ever did that. Ask them. And there's much more than that. That's joke. That's just see. But the Indian High Commissioner also was invited and responded. A former American ambassador responded. And when, of course, Venezuela was not yet in the turmoil that it is in, the Venezuelan ambassador also visited there. We now start. And that is why I told you I speak with confidence. Why I think Rowley in responding. He knows the distance I will go. He knows that. So I am motivating at the same time telling you that you have the capacity to, of course, in your own little corner of Trinidad and Tobago to make a difference. And if it means, of course, talking every night here on the corridor transformation, fine. But there are people who are willing, of course, to take the ideas and make it into reality and therefore affect and infect and to avoid that situation. That's a travesty of government and governance in this country. Not one single member of Rowley's administration could claim that they have done something like this. None of them. And I challenge them. So when I talk, I don't talk by guess, or I am not prepared to say something that I'm not prepared to do or have done. I can talk. Yes, the British High Commissioner to Trinidad visited and walked the streets of Nelson Street, George Street, going to the mall, the market mall, going to the secondary school, and that was the Eastern girls that he was visiting there, and of course engaging the students. And as I said, there are others that I brought into East Port of Spain. I did that under, of course, the organization called Laventil for Laventillians. Laventil for Laventillian, LFL. Quite apart from the miraculous efforts of the MLIO, the Mobile Laventil Improvement Organization, that trained over 6,000 young people, and they're all over the place in the army and the police, of course. And we have one fellow, of course, who ended up, of course, in the Air Force in the United Kingdom. We're talking serious business here. No time to ism, schism, and to think and to guess. No time to guess. We have the people, we have the capacity, we did it before and we can do it again. The only impediment to that effort was the PNM and still is the PNM. And therefore you people in Laventil, East Port of Spain, of course, and along the East-West corridor must understand that your greatest distress, your greatest hurdle is that of the PNM. And I talk you with authority here. None of you, for you to talk to me and to tell me this and that, you have to tell me what you have done. What you have done. Otherwise, don't talk to me. Can't talk to me. You may try, but you can't talk to me. Unless I could see your works. So there we have it. Look him there again. At the boys' school. That's the ambassador. Former ambassador, of course, or High Commissioner to Britain, resident here in Trinidad. Let's go again. It's a serious business. Look at me again. talking to the young folks and motivating them and so on. What do you think that is all about? It is about motivating them to make them understand that, of course, important people can come to see them, and they are the ones that are attracting that attention. And please, of course, don't embarrass us. Don't embarrass yourself. Of course, pay attention to your work so that, of course, you can make your parents proud and your community proud. That is what that is all about. Engagement. Tell me who? Heinz? Tell me who? Leons? Tell me who? Shortjung? Tell me who? Rowley? Tell me who? Former Prime Minister Manning? None of them. None of them has taken up the responsibility to do something like that. And that is recorded, as you see, in the Trinidad Guardian, in that case, of course, in the Express and in the Newsday. And of course, we have videos as well, which I'll play sometime later. This is serious business. Anybody who believes that I am some kind of joker or some kind of individual who, of course, is Vikey and don't walk the talk, you are now disabused. Now disabused. I will understand when I say what I say, and I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. Rowley has already gotten his pre-action protocol letter, and as I said, on Monday morning, we want to know where the gasoline, the fuel coming from. And there are one or two other things that I will tell you. But I thought I should regurgitate what, of course, was recommended by Miss Arima some time ago. That will be included. That will be included. Yes, indeed. We have to get serious. We are in a desperate situation here in Trinidad and Tobago by a moribund bunch who just believe that they can, of course, glibly and criminally and somehow stay in office so as to generate disaster for Trinidad and Tobago. And look at that letter there. Now let me read that one for you, because that came as a consequence of writing Margaret Thatcher. Yes, Margaret Thatcher, man. I wrote her when, of course, the Berlin Wall fell. And because we were getting some degree of assistance, both in terms of as an organization and as a country and as a region, and therefore, of course, wanting to focus now on East Germany because the Berlin Wall had fell. I thought it was important, of course, and that is a responsibility of a prime minister who was in office at the time. That was 1990. So we're talking about, of course, either 1990, so it would have been the NR in office. And I thought it was important because that incident came around that time, and at the same time, they were talking about further coming together of Europe, and that Britain was going to join, of course, the European Union. It's in those circumstances that I thought it was important, and of course, a part of the effort was to make certain that they understand what is happening in these communities so that the advisories against Trinidad and Tobago could be, of course, tempered, if not, of course, totally eliminated. Yeah, that's what this is all about. And let me just read for you. Let me just read for you what the letter says. 9th of November, 1990. So long after the attempted coup and in the draws of the succeeding year's elections. Dear Mr. Lennox Smith, Project Manager, Mova Laventil Improvement Organization, Fernandez Industrial Center, Eastern Main Road, Laventil, Trinidad and Tobago. It's coming, of course, from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, London. Yes. And it says as follows, Dear Mr. Smith, dear Mr. Lennox Smith, thank you for your letter of the 4th of October to the Prime Minister. Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister at the time. You feel I make a joke when I tell you I am going to take the blasted matter to the International Criminal Court. You think it's joke when I say I'm going to take it to the State Department of the United States? You feel it's joke when I said I am going to take it to the United Nations? You feel it's joke when I said I am going to take it, of course, to the Pan American institutions that are responsible for human rights and, of course, the development of the area, including places and, of course, institutions such as ECLAC and, of course, CARICOM. Feel this joke? When we are calling, of course, for international observers, these are the people I will be calling upon because I have record. And, of course, that is where I must capitalize upon. Rowley and them could dream to go there. He only have office now and could have, of course, meet with these people simply because of the office he hold. But all the years that he's a blasted lecturer in some far-fetched or faraway university, and now come and wanting, of course, to create conditions that he's some kind of guru politically to fool people. Let's continue, of course, with a letter from, of course, the British at that time in 1990. Thank you for your letter of 4th of October to the Prime Minister. I have been asked to reply as the desk officer in the Foreign and the Commonwealth Office responsible for our relations with Trinidad and Tobago. They address me like a Prime Minister. That's Prime Minister correspondence. And all don't understand when somebody like me say that, of course, we can, of course, do what you believe would have been impossible, that it is not possible. Well, I'm going to read. You have an opportunity, of course, to have a look at it because you have, of course, the benefit of social media and, of course, you have the benefit of your comfort of your home and you can read it when you wish. And the second paragraph continues. It has 3 paragraphs, so it's very short. It was very kind of you to write as you did. All right, let me take this call before, of course, I continue. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, Lennox, Miss Arima again.
Yes,
I'm feeling good how you're talking, Lennox. Yes, Lennox, we have to hit them hard through the Commonwealth. Through them, it's going to be pressure.
Yes.
And the OAS. You see the OAS? Them Latin American countries will hit them hard. He ain't going to have it easy inside of the...
I'm fully aware of all of what they can do.
3 of them go give him a ease up like Mexico, Nicaragua, right? And I think Bolivia. But you see the rest of them, man, they will fix him. Because you see that dealing he have with that man there next door? Listen, Lennox. Them set a scoundrel friend he have. The only opening oil producing companies in the region, like Ecuador. You hear? Ecuador in a mess, right? Only robbing the foreign exchange. And then they come and let go this demon out of the jail there because he partnered us bully America. Only capturing American citizens, throwing them into jail. No case, you're locking them up and then telling America if you want them, you have to let go, Alex Saab. You know the story how it go, Lennox?
Yes,
and you know aware, Americans, 20 of them for one man.
Yeah.
Because the man have all his secret, all Rowley secret. He name call when the fuel that leave here and go over there. He's this scoundrel who set up all kind of thing where you hear they talking about humanitarian aid or they could take food, medicine, whatever.
Just a matter of time.
$TT.
Just a matter of time, my
Who
friend.
want $TT? Who want $TT? Yeah, they talk Stuarty saying, oh, they will take $TT for the heavy crude. You know? They spending with money down there, you know, Lennox.
Of course, that pipeline alone.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
yes, yes.
using we money down, we currency down there,
And
the
then giving
currency
us
gone
and
through. Is
telling
that
us it's
and
a
US
Christmas
they
gift.
using?
4 years from now, a Christmas gift 4 years from now. At 2023
That
Christmas
ain't
gift.
even coming through
Of
if
course
Trump
not.
go back in power. If Trump go back in power, Lennox, the dog's dead.
And Rowley
Eh?
is not to go back in power either. So we will renegotiate.
If
Uh,
so,
and
right,
we will see the path.
Lennox?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Let me complete. Of course, is already 9:51. Of course, this is a letter from Margaret Thatcher, way back, of course, in 1990, when, of course, I wrote concerning the developments in Europe with the fall of the Berlin Wall, and, of course, the creation of the European Union, and of course, there was another significant development. The Lomé Agreement was, of course, dismantled, and therefore, the sugar and the banana industry in the Caribbean would have been decimated. That is the level of diplomacy that I have been engaged in on behalf of my community, but by extension, Trinidad and Tobago benefiting. And of course, it was also in the context of attempting to reduce the advisories against Trinidad and Tobago and those nastiness that they will tell their citizens about Trinidad. That is the level of commitment, and I expected that from Rowley, and they have disappointed. Let's go straight to the lines. A pleasant good night. I have, of course, someone on my phone. A pleasant good night. Yes. Yeah?
You hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Whom the gods wish to destroy the first in their man.
Yes, indeed.
That's your favorite thing.
Yes.
Them gone mad long time, you know. You remember during the COVID? They wanted to give it to come in home to the police to see if we keep it a safe distance apart.
Yes.
And then, in other words, if we sleep with the wife and all them things.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing have a problem with the childbirth too low in the country.
Yes.
Right? The next one, what we say, with the property tax. The police will come in the house and charge me. And you'll get conviction and all this crap. So, it's better we break down the walls. And then the time when you go and watch inside the house. They have a problem inside the house, Lennox.
Yes, of course. Evil people, nothing they do. Nothing they
Better we
do.
take down the walls.
Yeah. The Galleon Passage is a sinister act. They want to, of course, justify the purchase of that vessel, and, of course, not telling us that they're no longer going to, of course, have the port in Toko. Because remember, the Galleon Passage was retained because they say it would have been not a waste of money because they will retain it to, of course, ply between Toko and Tobago. How come you're now deploying it for a tri-regional, or should I say, a tri-sub-regional transportation network between Guyana, Trinidad, and, of course, Barbados? We have think you could fool. Yeah, we have think you could fool without explaining to us what happening to that. You saying that the Galleon Passage will go there because you see an opportunity to justify in their macabre and evil way the 17 million US that you spend for that, and saying, of course, questionable circumstance. Under questionable circumstance. Go ahead. Yes.
So that I just wanted to be the highway going away. Eh?
Yeah.
But boy,
Yeah, go ahead. Finish? I like we get cut off. All right, people we got cut off. But of course, let me just complete that letter that came out as a consequence of my letter to Margaret Thatcher, and everybody would know that, a very famous female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And once again, of course, it was, of course, sent back to me on the 9th of November 1990. And of course, dear Mrs. Smith, let me start over. It's short, just 3 paragraphs, so I could afford to start over. For those of you who just came, yes, a letter from, because of the recognition by the community, of the community, and for the community in treating, of course, with the crime, with the social, with the economic, with the cultural, and with, of course, the attitudinal change that is required. Right in Laventille there. And Rowley and them come now, mash up the whole thing. And you have an explosive situation, out of control. And before they get the France out of office, they continue, of course, to try to hoodwink to stay in office. Dear Mr. Lennox Smith, that's the letter that you see there behind me. Thank you for your letter of the 4th of October to the Prime Minister. I have been asked to reply. So the Prime Minister asked him to reply. The Prime Minister of Great Britain, as the desk officer in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office responsible for our relations with Trinidad and Tobago. So they adjust him like a Prime Minister. They adjust him like a... Rowley never got a letter like that before he became Prime Minister. And well, worse yet with Hines and all of them are neophyte and nincompoops. And they want to talk to people like me and use sycophants and stupidities want to defend them. Continue to defend them. It was very kind of you to write as you did, and I am very pleased that Sir Martin Bertrude and his staff have been able to assist you by providing tools and various other equipment, because at that time the ambassador or the high commissioner was that fella, Martin Bertrude, and he assisted us with some tools for the trade school. And the final paragraph continues. We attach great value to the traditionally good relations between the United Kingdom and Trinidad and Tobago. There's only a Prime Minister that's got that kind of kudos and respect. And I can assure you that despite the demands on our time and resources caused by dramatic developments in Eastern Europe and elsewhere, this will not result in our neglecting our long-standing friends in the Caribbean. Yours sincerely, M.A. Cape, West Indian and Atlantic Department. That is what I got in 1990. Rowley is a newcomer. He's a neophyte. All of them. That's why I could talk with confidence. They know that. Well, if they don't, they know, but they know now from where my authority has come. I am not Ian Allen and the others who believe, who talk for talking's sake, and their track record is not concomitant or in line with, of course, what they are saying, because they are guessing, they are futuristic, they are hoping, they are planning. I already delivered. And because I've delivered, I could do it again. It's up to you in Laventille. I told you on the last occasion, Laventillians, that the only party, and you will not now be surprised, that the only party of a massive nature, whether it be the PNM or anybody else, of a massive nature that put a section in their manifesto for Laventille alone, it didn't come there by guess. It's because of these kinds of communications and connections and, of course, networking, man. Understand that? So when I talk to you, I am not talking ad hominem or by guess or by wishful thinking. I am not these others, including Rowley and them. Understand that? That is a letter that is equal to and for and to be addressed to a Prime Minister. And you ain't seen nothing yet. When I read the one from, of course, the American University. When I read the one from the American University, you will be shocked, because it was sent directly to Manning at the time, telling him and praising and telling them that it is programs such as what Lennox Smith and the MLIO and the Mobile Lavatil Improvement Organization is engaging, that of course you need, of course, to foment and support and of course spread out in order, of course, to address the problem at the time, so that we would have achieve the prophylactic approach as opposed now to the reactive approach that this government is now engaged, now that all hell has broken loose. We were there to say this is what's going to happen, and if you do not take XYZ action, and since they did not listen, and since they did not take the action that was recommended by the people who are in it, the ass is grass, and I don't care, and I will not, of course, lift an inch. When, of course, the time comes, and I will have no sympathy for them, and you should not, because they were warned, they were told, and they prefer to, of course, to gravitate. And when they do put in something, they gravitate to the negative elements. We saw on this program where Hines went on Bath Street and talking, of course, to Sunday and the other elements that he said he will engage, of course, in St. Paul Street and environs before he come to Lennox Smith and ask advice, who have been there and who recognize all over the globe. Let me tell you something. Every year, the Inter-American Development Bank will send me an invitation to wherever they're having their meetings to attend. I attended the one in Colombia several years ago. They will send me an invitation to, of course, attend the NGO forum just before, of course, the governors would, of course, engage in their deliberations for future development and, of course, for the advancement and the rolling out of the program of the bank. More than that, the first international conference on SIDS, small island development states. You know what I say? I said the first conference on small island development states, subjected, of course, to climate change. I was invited and, of course, attended in Barbados. I have been there. I have done it. I know. I am not talking by accident. And you must understand that you're dealing with, of course, someone who may not have been as forefronted as I ought to be. But, of course, sleeping giants is exactly that. But when they awaken, they are, of course, as ferocious and as potent and as life-changing as one can be. I could make the mistakes like what Rowley make as a prime minister or as a minister or as an influencer in this country. No. Having regard to what I've done, it was I who organized a team to repair the two maces of parliament that both the speaker and the president under this government of both houses gallerying with today and playing the ass with our democracy. It was I who organized a team to, of course, clean up the Red House. When we saw, of course, the stench and the place where Robinson was shot in the parliament. It's I who did that. Rather than them was hiding somewhere like little Zandolis in the hole. Whilst, of course, we were out there protecting our democracy. I want you to understand the character, Lennox Smith. I want you to understand the personality, Lennox Smith. I want you to understand that I am prepared, of course, to go the distance. And that is why I will not relent, and I will not listen, and I will not, of course, even contemplate or consider anybody who have not done their chores, who have not done what is required in order, of course, to address the problem today, and then telling me that they're advising me, but they have no track record, including Rowley and them. I intend, of course, to go to the crime symposium, because we have different of topics to treat with, again, based on practical. And you will hear me then, and you'll hear me, of course, outline my plans for addressing crime and criminality, the borderline issue, and of course, drive-by shooting, and of course, gang activities. Because I have been there too. I addressed the National Security Council, was invited by Martin Joseph before Heinz could even dream. And frankly, he should be the one sweeping out the office of the minister or the whole compound of the National Security Ministry. He shouldn't be where he is. The vex, you know. I know the vex. Because ability is ability. And they believe that they can, of course, because of the office as a whole, that everything is about money. They're so damn foolish. They're so damn foolish. It is about our democracy. It is about fairness. It's about equity. It is about the utilization of our resources to at least deal with the least among us so that we can give them a helping hand. And so all of us will be better off for it. That's what this is all about. Heinz, in his ignorance and his self-conceited, misinformed disposition, will regularly say that Smith on money. But if I was on money, I wouldn't be here tonight. He on money. Because he will not give up that 30 pieces of silver knowing that he's a blasted failure. He on money. He on money. But that is for another time, people. But I thought I should not regale, but I should address you once and for all as to who Lennox Smith is. Nobody in Trinidad and Tobago, I posit, nobody in Trinidad and Tobago can have a dedication, a history, a record of the kind of service and the kind of things that I would have done in order to address the problem. Because I know that if we do not address it, then the all of Trinidad and Tobago will suffer, as I've said before. All. Don't advise me to not go into that place and see if we could at least contain the problem. Rowley and they are making it difficult for us by their misappropriation of policies, programs, and their total and absolute ignorance. And of course, their malfunctioning and dysfunctional policies and programs, but projecting that somehow they're making sense, when in fact, the blasted place is now, of course, a den, an abyss of internationally recognized criminals, and the sixth worst place to be as far as crime and criminality is concerned, and the only country in the Western Hemisphere to have per capita terrorists to have gone to the Middle East, to have gone to Syria. Today, of course, they hesitate to bring back, of course, those persons who are there stranded under very merciless conditions, because they clearly don't know what to do and how to handle that. I would have gone brave and take them back because they are citizens of this country. But no, Rowley and them don't want that, because they want that easy. They take the easy way out. Well, I am like, of course, President Kennedy, when he told the Americans land a person on the moon, and we are going to do so not because it is easy, but because it is blasted difficult. And this is a difficult situation that we all have to, of course, put our shoulders to the wheel. And those of us who have the experience and the know-how must now share the information, as is the case today, and we are going to, of course, resolve this problem sooner rather than later. But one of the major impediments to that development is the Rowley administration and the PNM, and we must, of course, relegate that organization, a criminal enterprise, to the dustbin of political history as we, of course, liberate Trinidad and Tobago. People, we have come to the end of tonight's program. It is now, of course, 10 minutes past 10. I trust that you are more confident now. I trust that you are more enthused. I trust that you are more motivated, because nobody else in this country, Ian Allen, this, that, whatever, or could be as experienced and have, of course, been there and done that, and is capable, of course, of regurgitating or rolling it out in a jiffy, because it's all here. It's all here, and on paper as well, as you would have seen, to prove. I will read tomorrow, of course, the one coming from the American University. So that was from the British. And they're all over the place. And so don't forget, of course, that tomorrow morning, Andy, Mike, and myself on the ground report. We will be there as well from 6 to 9. Of course, tomorrow night, we continue, of course, with the corridor transformation from 9 to 10. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And of course, be safe, be safe, and be safe. So yes, people, we have done it. 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 And we can do it again. We can do it again. We can do it again. Yes, indeed.
When you have trouble, don't cry. Oh no, no. Just remember that God is standing by. Hold on, yeah. When you have heartaches, don't cry. Oh no, just remember that God is standing by. Sometime when your burden is down, just remember God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So there's no need to cry. Oh, God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So don't you worry and don't cry. No, confusion has been so long. Your ship has lost anchor, and the storm that you drifted. Just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm. Ride out your storm. God is still with you. You may not feel it, but you're not alone. You're hurting now, but your morning is coming. Lord of mercy, just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm. Remember his promise. He said, I never forsake you. Though the waters are troubled, they'll do you no harm. Don't give up the battle, for your answer is coming. Just hold